Did you ever say to yourself, you know what Assassin's Creed really needs? An open world full with microtransactions. Well, Ubisoft is about to make your wish come true. Hi, welcome to Zgadgetreview. Today, Ubisoft was forced to announce their upcoming game, Assassin's Creed Infinity. And the reason why I say that they were forced to is because Bloomberg had a report about an upcoming game called Assassin's Creed Infinity, where supposedly it's going to be an open world and it's going to be a live service style type game, meaning that it's going to be full of microtransactions. That's what live service means, in case you were not aware. This is a little bit of what Ubisoft said in their press release. We wanted to share some key updates on the talented and creative minds that will now be working in a collaborative cross-studio structure between Ubisoft Montreal and Ubisoft Quebec that will guide, grow, evolve, and define the overall future of Assassin's Creed. That includes an important upcoming early in development project codenamed Assassin's Creed Infinity. So far within this press release, we know that Assassin's Creed Infinity is an early project that is currently in development. We should have seen this coming because at E3, Ubisoft didn't really announce a new Assassin's Creed, which usually they do since it's a yearly game. E3 is a time that they show off what they're working on with Assassin's Creed. In this year's E3, they announced that they were just going to bring expansions to current Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and that those expansions will go into 2022. So Valhalla is kind of an early test of an open-ended game that continues having content brought to it. I know that Assassin's Creed Valhalla has some microtransactions, but it mostly relies on people buying the expansions for the game. Rather than continuing to pass the baton from game to game, we profoundly believe this is an opportunity for one of Ubisoft's most beloved franchises to evolve in a more integrated and collaborative manner that's less centered on studios and more focused on talent and leadership, no matter where they are within Ubisoft. What this boils down to is that instead of moving the franchise from studio to create new iterations of the games as they do every year, the game going forward, in this case Assassin's Creed Infinity, is going to be managed by Ubisoft Montreal and Ubisoft Quebec. So a partnership between these two studios is going to create Assassin's Creed Infinity for the foreseeable future. This is good news and bad news. Good news because it's an ongoing game, meaning that anyone can jump into the Assassin's Creed world at any time if you haven't before. In my opinion, you should have played the earlier games versus the later games. I think the earlier games were and are a lot better than whatever came out later. And so this will give you the ability of inviting people to play with you and not necessarily having to worry about them being stuck or not having the right game at the right time and all these things. So this technically potentially gives you a bigger, wider pool of players to test out the Assassin's Creed series. Bad news because if it's going to be a live service, as they are saying, this means that, as Ubisoft has announced already previously, I did a video on that, which you can see here or the description section. They have said that they are going to try to work their current franchises into making them live service type games. And this is, of course, another one of those games, Assassin's Creed, that is going to become one of those games, which means microtransactions. And Ubisoft isn't new to microtransactions. I will say the first foray into it has been Rainbow Six Siege, and that you actually pay for the game and then they sold you the operators and they have skins for weapons and operators and blah blah blah. Literally, Rainbow Six Siege should be a free-to-play game, but it isn't, which I think is really unfair. Assassin's Creed obviously is going that route. I think that the game is further along than they lead on, because if they haven't really announced anything for upcoming Assassin's Creed games except that Valhalla is going to continue to 2022, My assumption is that this new Assassin's Creed is probably going to be coming out around 2023. It will make the most sense to me. And that finally Ubisoft is going to just continue making these formulaic games that they have been making for the last, I would say, 6-7 years now, that are kind of repetitive and kind of have the same ideas and type of gameplay with just different settings and different characters. And sadly, Ubisoft isn't the studio that it used to be, the studio that used to make games that were different from each other, that actually push the envelope and try new things on their games. It just isn't. Thanks to the Bloomberg article, we do have some information on what the game is supposed to be like. This part comes from WCCF Tech. Whereas previous Assassin's Creed games each unfolded in specific historical settings such as ancient Greece or Ptolemaic Egypt, Infinity will continue multiple settings with room to expand to others in the months and years following its debut, said the people who was not to be identified discussing a project under development. Individual games on the platform might look and feel different, but they will all be connected. So it looks like these games might kind of go the way that Halo Infinite is going, where you can buy the single player portion of the game, of the story, and kind of shoot you out to a semi-multiplayer open world version of the game, where if you wanted to continue the story per se, and it will probably be in a region that is connected to that time in history of the game that you just played, kind of thing is what it sounds like to me.
Okay.
As I said, my biggest concern is the microtransactions and the fact that games are deciding to go that route. Sadly, it is follow the money type thing, right? Microtransactions being tons of money. Every single free-to-play game that is successful makes billions of dollars due to the microtransactions that they have in the game. So it will make sense that these big developers smell the money, see the potential, and that's the route they're going. We are seeing right now a huge shift in gaming and the way games are going to be working and the way games are going to be consumed and sold to us. What do you think about this upcoming Assassin's Creed game? Is this something that you were expecting? Are you excited for the potential? Are you disappointed that this is the route Ubisoft is going? Let me know in the comment section. That's it for me. Go ahead and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. It really helps the channel. Go ahead and hit that bell so you can be alerted every time we have new videos. And thank you very much for watching.